Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. Some of you on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Far Beyond the World. Anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go! Alrighty. The glimmer of gold flickers across the marble walls, but the tiger's expression doesn't shift an inch. He closes the chest with indifference and folds his hands. Ingots. I suppose you would need those liquefied. What? Ranok throws his head towards me, and I smile gently. He means you need them exchanged for coins. Yes, coins for trade. Thought so. The old tiger closes his eyes and ponders for a moment. I can easily arrange for the funds to be available to you, but the main issue still stands. Why should I allow for trade between our peoples after all that's happened? Because the generosity of Tygeron is known far and wide. I step in once again, suspecting that another outburst might be brewing inside the wolf. Your kin answers injustice with justice. The trade between your two peoples has indeed been conducted in an unfair manner, but it is something that can be addressed at a later date. What? Ranok blurts out, drawing the attention of the tiger. Your master begs to differ, it would seem. I half expect the wolf to stand his ground, but to my surprise, Ranok straightens up in size. No, humans speak for I. Really? The magistrate's disbelief sounds more like mockery. Seems you have tamed a wolf, sir, a rare occurrence in these parts. He continues his jabs, and I decide that enough is enough. I would appreciate if we would refrain from veiled insults directly at my companion. I have his confidence, just as he has mine. I try to sound stern enough to make the older male reconsider his behavior, and to my relief, he does. Again, my apologies. I hope you can forgive my slips of the tongue, considering the extraordinary circumstances of this audience. The magistrate corrects himself in his seat, looking back to the wolf with a more toned expression. So, your people need iron. I assume it's not just any regular metal you're after. You want tigery steel. Why should we arm your folk with our most prized resource? Protection. Protection? Ha! Your kin has been raiding our realms for generations. The only ones in need of protection are my people. The tiger laughs contemptuously and darts his gaze between us. It's clear that Ranok is lost for words, most likely because he's fuming, but also because he's never played a diplomatic role in his life. Well, anything to add? How about you, human? The magistrate's penetrating stare now lands on me, and I fidget. In truth, I have no idea what I could reply. I don't know their history, and if Ranok isn't eager to correct the statement, there might be a grain of truth to it. What's the matter? Wolf got your tongue? Let us speak freely. You're no longer in the Wolven Forest, beholden to their barbaric laws. I'm speaking freely, my lord. Despite what you think, I have come here as an equal, although employed in Ranok's service. I try to reassert the truth, but the tiger just waves his paw at me dismissively, clearly not trusting my words. Ranok's faltering facade of calm is not helping either, and the wolf barely keeps his composure, clearly aggravated by the tiger's continuing jabs. As you wish then, but my question still stands. Why should I arm his kin? He says they need protection. From what? This is a complicated situation, more so than I'm qualified to handle, yet the line of questioning is so pointed that it's hard to believe it comes out of nowhere. I give a worried glance to Ranok, who's almost shaking in anger, and before I allow him enough time to let his emotions take over, I decide to make a gamble. There's war coming, I state plainly, drawing Ranok's shock and momentary ire. The magistrate, on the other hand, looks to me intently, but his expression barely shifts. A chief from the north named Vortigern is building up a force poised on conquest. We do not know where his attention might ultimately shift, but for now, he's eyeing out his brethren. There's a momentary pause, and I can hear my own heart pounding inside my chest. I swallow heavily, waiting for a reaction, anything at all, and eventually the tiger nods. We've heard as much. He admits, drawing Ranok's attention, and I sigh in relief. I was right. He was prodding us for the truth. But how is another Wolven squabble any of our problems? Why should I waste my time and resources on something inevitable which occurs with almost regular frequency? Because this doesn't seem a typical Wolven squabble, as you so adequately put it. Orien? Ranok tries to interrupt, but I ignore him, taking one step forward, grin too deep. This is an ambitious chieftain bent on power beyond anything the region has seen in years. Should Tyrant fall, it wouldn't be one troublesome chief in a far-off corner of the woods you'll have to worry about, but an entire kin united under the iron grip of a tyrant. Who's to say his ambition would end there? I finish with a question, quite happy to see I've caught the magistrate's undivided attention. He allows my words to hang as he contemplates them, while I sneak glances at an utterly confused Ranok. I'm not sure he's angry with me for saying too much or for sidelining him. Truth, I'm not sure he's angry at all. He looks more dazed, stunned. He doesn't remain that for long, as the Magistrate breaks the silence, poking his finger in my direction. I like this human. A straight shooter, and an honest one at that. Very much a credit to his kin. He says at Ranok, and the wolf gives an idle flick of his tail, banishing any fears I might have angered him. He's pleased, at least for now. You know, lad, I have spent many a day in Freyfall debating my human counterparts on issues of politics and governments. The tiger now speaks in my direction, pouring himself another serving of wine. In fact, I've been present in Bengaron when a first human magistrate was elevated to such a post nearly 14 years ago. You remind me much of him, bold and without hint of deceit. He states with satisfaction, bopping his glass at me, and we take another silent toast as we wet our lips. Your kind is honor-driven, more so than the wolves would ever give you credit for. I'm sure your candidness did not earn you any favor with your master. It speaks for I, the wolf mutters, causing the magistrate to laugh. Even his tongue betrays his mind. You're property to him, a property that speaks out of turn. Another jab causes a subdued growl to escape Ranok's throat, and once more I am forced to mediate. My lord, as I said, we have traveled far, and forgive my frankness, but we did not do so to exchange insults. We won't correct the prejudice of ages today in this room. We're simply here to humbly ask for a trade, on as fair a term as you'll find in your heart to offer. You have a talent for speeches, my boy. Silver tongue if I ever met one. He smiles in admiration and looks towards a marble pedestal with a bust of a royal feline-looking figure. The Sorcerer King would love you. I've half a mind of snatching you, putting up in a crate and shipping off to the capital. Strictly speaking, that would be kidnapping. I respond teasingly, yet my voice is lined with worry, as I'm not exactly sure if he wouldn't consider it such an act of rescue. Indeed. And yet it's the most common way one finds himself in the service of a wolf. The jab draws an irritated sigh from Ranok, but as much as I find this childish in this instance, I cannot think of a retort. Knowing what I know about Trist, it's very much an accurate assessment. Thankfully, the tiger doesn't dwell on it and addresses me once again. What is your name? Orien, my lord. Your full name, boy. It's just Orien, I'm afraid. No one's ever just a name. He responds with a growing suspicion. I decide to humor his curiosity, more so since I can dispel any of his assumptions as to how I found myself at Ranok's side. I must be no one, then. And it might as well just be true. I was found bleeding in near death. Whatever caused my wretched state is lost to me, just as all my prior memories are. Whatever your thoughts on wolves might be, they've saved me. The magistrate listens carefully as I point towards Ranok with an open hand. He found me and he took me in. He sheltered, fed, and clothed me. He promised to help me recover my memory and find my way back home. I'm simply repaying a debt incurred, as any honorable creature would. Well said, my friend. I'm not going to hide our dislike for your comrade over there. His kind has been quite a thorn in our side for many generations. Ranok is an honorable wolf, I state sternly, and the tiger shrugs with little conviction. Oh, I do not doubt that he believes himself so. Perhaps even you believe it, considering how passionately you defend him. But at the end of the day, he is a wolf. Meaning? I don't hide my displeasure at his blatant xenophobia. His people, when stripped of all disguise and pretense, are savages who follow a primitive doctrine of might makes right. From my limited experience, I would say it's a natural condition for most in power, from lowly servant to the highest of magistrates. I emphasize the last part, causing the tiger to smile. Again, he bops his finger at me, and his amusement becomes apparent. You're a sharp one, I'll give you that. I'm also not going to deny that devotion you exhibit for your lord is touching, perhaps a bit perverse considering your circumstance, but not without merit. However, do not take me for a fool. His tone turns. Tygeron, and by extension Avalon as a whole, function on three principles. Liberty, equality, and fraternity, all three completely foreign a concept to the wolven kind. Very well then, I won't try to change your mind. I nod in defeat, taking the tiger by surprise. But take this into account. My life was saved by these wolves, who now face a threat of invasion. I am without any illusion as to what my fate would have been were I found in Vortigern's lands. What you need to ask yourself, my good sir, is if you prefer that sort of wolf as your neighbor. The tiger reclines comfortably into his chair, tapping his fingers against the armrests. I give a worried look to Ranok, who, despite being slightly unsettled, tries to muster an encouraging smile. The silence protracts uncomfortably as I'm about to speak up, when the magistrate stands up and ruffles some jingling bits inside one of his pockets. He retrieves a small golden key and walks towards a side cupboard, which he unlocks with. You watch curiously as he removes a scroll with a seal already broken and walks back to take his seat. I have here in my paw something I've not shared with anyone yet. In fact, not even the capital was made aware of this. The tiger speaks in a hushed voice, shaking the parchment. His tone seems devoid of any previous levity or scorn, as he looks intently at Ranok. For the first time, he's addressing the wolf as an actual partner in an honest conversation. It's a letter from Vortigern himself. A pompous upstart, but quite dedicated, I'll give him that. He's styling himself in such a manner that would make our most decadent of nobles feel aghast. Just reading the preamble took me a good minute or two. I let out a weak chuckle, drawing the tiger's attention. I remember very well how Vortigern's titles were greeted at the feasting ground. Can you guess what said letter contains? The magistrate asks, and I blink. I wouldn't presume. Entertain me, please. He requests politely, and I decide to oblige. I guess he asked for you to stay out of the woven affairs. Asked? You are indeed a human. The tiger scoffs in amusement, shaking his head. It was a demand, quite stern in fact, so you can see my conundrum when it comes to your master's request. Which wolf should I listen to? You're a free kin, my lord, as you asserted many times. I mutter respectfully as possible. You're also a leader of a sovereign people. You do not have to listen to anyone. But if I were you, I would consider a humble request made in person over a petulant demand made in writing. The tiger reclines back into his seat, licking his fingers at his chin. His entire demeanor shifts, and his posture betrays a growing ease in our presence. My dear wolf, I have no idea what madness forced such a cunning little thing into your service, but you should count your blessings. Indeed, Master Orien, we are of the same mind. He looks to me with a kind smile. I shall grant your wolven friend his right of unrestricted trade. The magistrate waves a finger in Ranok's direction. But make no mistake, wolf. I'm doing so only thanks to that crafty creature next to you, which I know your people hold in contempt. Thank you, my lord. Tribe, thanks. I bow graciously while Ranok gives a half-hearted nod. Leave the gold with me. It's not wise for any individual to carry such wealth around unarmed. Ranok looks at the chest slightly worriedly, but I place a hand on his shoulder. After all, that was the point of our mission, to use the gold to establish credit. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there, y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all, and I shall see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!